time you are sitting comfortably and watching this video. But I tell you, the place where you are sitting today, that land was boiling with a temperature of 8500 degrees millions of years ago. Or the place where you are sitting, that place was covered with snow for millions of years. Both these things are true. In this 15-minute video, you are going to see the journey of 450 crore years of the Earth. The place where our solar system is today, there used to be various types of gas and dust clouds. According to scientists, there used to be a star away from the clouds of dust. With time, the energy of that star began to decrease, due to which a huge explosion occurred inside it. Due to the explosion, the dust of space began to compress each other. During this time, the particles of dust present in the clouds had turned into large meteoroid and rocks due to pressure and heat. And due to this pressure, the radioactive substances present in these clouds created gravity. Because of this gravity, hydrogen and helium began to gather in the middle. This led to terrible pressure in the middle, and there was a huge explosion. As a result of this explosion, our sun was born. Asteroids in space, that is, because of the heavy weight in pure planets, came close to the sun and started orbiting the sun. Asteroids kept bumping and crashing into each other. Eventually, they became the planets we know today: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. According to scientists, at that time, the planet called Theia used to orbit the sun between the Earth and Mars. Due to the gravity on the Earth, the asteroids orbiting the sun started orbiting the Earth and gradually fell on the Earth for millions of years. And such an incident was also happening on our neighboring planet Theia, due to which Theia began to come closer to the Earth and came and clashed with the Earth. Due to this terrible collision, parts of the Earth spread into space in the form of particles and began to orbit the Earth like a ring. While orbiting them, the particles began to collide, causing the formation of our moon. At that time, there was only one ocean on the Earth, and that was the lava boiling at a temperature of 1900 degrees Celsius. All those things were boiling, which you know by different names today. With the passage of time, the Earth was slowly cooling down, because of which heavy elements such as metals and radioactive materials gathered in the center of the Earth, and light materials came to the surface of the Earth. For millions of years, meteorites rained on the Earth, and salt, minerals, and water were deposited in these falling meteorites. For millions of years, these meteorites were flooded, and gradually the upper layer of the Earth began to cover with water. According to scientists, this was the time when, for the first time, tiny creatures were created from volcanoes that came out of deep water. Lakhs of years later, a time came when the entire surface of the Earth was covered with water. The core of our Earth is made up of radioactive materials, so it is hot all the time. But when the surface of the Earth cools down, the heat inside the Earth cannot come out, due to which volcanoes are formed. And something like this happened at that time. Thousands of volcanoes began to erupt on the water-covered Earth. And for the next millions of years, these volcanoes continued to erupt, which was creating land on the water. Even at this time, due to the absence of air on the Earth, the meteorites were raining from space. Approximately 300 billion years ago, there was a time on Earth when the atmosphere of the Earth was almost stable. The volcanoes had slowed down, and the Earth used to be 12 hours a day. Years passed by, and slowly, gradually, these micro beings started growing, and as a result, they started to live in groups. Approximately 250 million years ago, for the first time on Earth, such organisms were created that used minerals and sunlight in the water to live and excreted oxygen in the form of wastewater. By this time, most of the volcanoes had stopped coming out on Earth, and the amount of oxygen in the environment was increasing due to these microbacteria. Due to the increase in oxygen in the environment, the Earth's atmosphere began to form. And for the next thousands of years, the amount of oxygen in the environment continued to increase, due to which these tiny creatures spread in most parts of the earth. After thousands of years, a time came when these tiny creatures started dying due to increased oxygen in the earth. By that time, the Earth's atmosphere had cooled down and was also filled with oxygen, due to which the minerals of iron present in the earth and the environment began to react with the oxygen present in the water. And a time came when the Earth's soil had turned red like today's Mars. As time passed, cracks began to appear in the tectonic plates of the Earth, due to which the lava inside the Earth kept boiling open for millions of years like the Earth. And this was the reason why the amount of carbon dioxide increased a lot in the environment of the Earth and acid began to rain on the Earth. Due to the acid rain, the temperature of the Earth began to decrease, and the temperature decreased so much that the water on the Earth began to turn into ice. For the first time, there was a terrible ice age on the Earth. At this time, the entire Earth was covered with white ice. Generally, when the sun's rays fall on the Earth absorbs those rays. But because the whole Earth was covered with snow, and since snow is white and shiny, as a result of which the sun's rays used to go back after falling on the Earth. For this reason, the Earth was covered with snow for millions of years. But again, the heat inside the Earth began to come out in the form of volcanoes. And the heat coming out of these volcanoes started melting the ice. Meanwhile, some small creatures remaining in the depths of the Earth were slowly changing, and now they were using oxygen to make their bodies bigger and more complex.